Hi, Zoe. Okay, this book I'm pretty excited to read because it's about 14 young women who changed the world, and it was illustrated by 13 extraordinary women. And I think we know some pretty amazing women in our lives, and I'm pretty sure you're an amazing little lady too. So this one's called Shaking Things Up by Susan Hood. And again, like a really nice book. Okay, are you ready? Set, go. This one's a bunch of little stories. So this one's called Taking the Heat. Molly Williams, the first known female firefighter in the United States. Years passed in New York City streets. A blizzard whipped the air. Despite the heavy falling snow, a fire scorched the square. The steeples clanged, the town alarmed, the boy runners spread the news, but firemen were sick abed with influenza blues. A local servant knew the drill. She'd seen what must be done. She hauled the pumper trunk by hand, adept as anyone. In raging flames and choking smoke, brave Molly took the heat. With hose and axe, she met the blaze to save the house and street. The laddies gave her praise, respect where it was due, dubbing her Volunteer 11, a member of the crew. She glowed with pride, a pioneer. She blazed a path, it's true. Yet women weren't hired there until 1982. So Mary, who is also nicknamed Molly Durham Williams. She was born in 1747 and died in 1821. So it was well over 150 years before anyone was actually hired. Was a servant of volunteer firefighter James Amar. She grew the duties of the Oceanus Entire Company number 11 from her time cooking for the men and didn't hesitate to help. There wasn't another female firefighter in New York City until 1982 when Brenda Berkman burned the FDNY with a discrimination lawsuit and won. Oh, that was a pretty good one. Okay, let's meet our next lady. Her name is Mary Anning. It's called Buried Treasure. She was a paleontologist. A jaw, mouth, eye holes, a long skull. What could it be? Mary dug and drilled, uncovering snake stones, layers of limestone, and crocodile teeth. Fossils sold to her family from starving, Persistently, she chipped and chiseled a skull, detecting a backbone blown bare in a storm. Day after day, she carved, millions of years melting away, etching the earth's past in the cliffs. She worked unearthing fabulous flippers like a dolphin's and a long tail of an ichthyosaur. So this one is made like the fossil that she dug up. So penniless after her father's death, Mary Anning, so she was born in 1799 till 1847, combed England's coast selling fossils to tourists. When her brother spotted a skull in 1811, it was 13-year-old Mary who unearthed the prehistoric sea reptile, the ichthyosaur, in 1812. Later, she discovered the first two complete plesiosaurs and pterosaur, laying the foundation for Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. That's cool. Okay, this one's called Woman of the World. Nellie Bly, investigative journalist. Okay, this ace reporter, Nellie Bly, delivered headline news by going undercover in jails, ballets, and zoos. A fearless writer of her day, she righted wrongs along the way. What's next? Young Nellie wondered. A trip like Jules Verne's book Around the World in 80 Days? No, faster. That's her hook. Her manager poo-pooed her plan. A trip like this would need a man. So Nellie told him, start the man. She'd beat him if she could. The manager looked up and said, "Yes, I believe you would." Bly hopped a ship and told her tale, all of she saw on earth. She rode of camels, temples, and jewels with Gutsy's wit and mirth. She rode on sampans, rickshaws, trains, through blizzards, heat, and monsoon rains. She talked with geishas, captains, priests. She even met Jules Verne. She brought a little monkey home upon her proud return. The worldwide press sang Nellie's praise. She'd beaten Verne by 8 whole days. At 25, young Nellie aced a record-breaking race. No soul on earth had ever sped the globe at such a pace. Oh, that was a good poem. Okay, so Nellie Bly, 1864 to 1922, was the pen name of Elizabeth Jane Cochrane, who impersonated a madwoman in an asylum, masqueraded as a ballerina, and posed as a thief, all to expose corruption and cruelty in hospitals, theaters, and prisons. She achieved worldwide fame for her race around the globe, clocking in at 72 days, 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds. Later, in World War I, Nellie went to the front lines, becoming one of the first women war correspondents. Okay, let's try this next one. Turning the Tide. Annette Kellerman, champion athlete and inventor of the modern swimsuit. There once was a mermaid queen, lovely and lithesome and lean, who swam afternoons without pantaloons. Her swimsuit was deemed obscene. The lady was quickly arrested. Unafraid, she calmly protested. Who could swim 50 laps wearing corsets and caps? Her statement could not be contested. She streamlined the suit of the day and invented our water ballet. By changing the fashion, she fueled swimming passions as women made waves in the spray. So Australian Annette Kellerman, 1886 to 1975, wore braces on her legs as a child, possibly due to rickets. Her doctor suggested swimming to strengthen her leg muscles. She went on to win world records, perform daredevil diving stunts, and star in silent films, popularizing a new one-piece suit and ushering in a new age of athleticism for women. Okay, next one. This one's The Storyteller, which is Pura Belpre, children's author and first Latina librarian at the New York Public Library. Okay, author, amiga, bilingual book buyer, community champion for children, defender of the downtrodden, empowering educated folklorist, fairy tale teller, grower of gifts, Harlem history maker, inner city innovator, joyful Johnny Appleseed, known for the Perezi Matina, legendary Latina librarian, multicultural mosaic maker, New York narrator for niños, outgoing organizer, Puerto Rican puppeteer, querida, role model, Spanish story seed sower, trilingual translator, uplifter of the underprivileged, voice of the voiceless, weaver of wonder, expert of Espanol, young at heart, and a zealot. Pura Belpre, so 1899 to 1982, revolutionized New York City by enticing Spanish-speaking communities inside the previously English-only libraries. She bought Spanish books, conducted bilingual story hours, and celebrated Hispanic traditions. When she couldn't find Spanish tales on the shelves, she wrote them herself, publishing many children's books. Oh, Frida Kahlo. Your cousin has studied Frida Kahlo before. This one's called Broken. Broken from polio at age 6 from a withered foot. Childhood bullies shouting, Frida pata de peo, Frida peg leg. Broken again from a bus accident when she was 18. Spine, collarbone, pelvis, ribs, leg, and foot smashed, confined to bed in a full-body cast. With an easel on her lap and a mirror above her bed, Frida painted self-portraits. I am the subject, I know best. She breathed in the colors, handicrafts, carvings, clothing of her homeland, Mexican, Aztec, Mayan. Art flowed from her fingertips, paintings of skulls, skeletons, stags, flowers, fantasy, fragility. Surrealism is the stuff of dreams and nightmares, but Frida said, I paint my own reality. Mexico, misfortune, monkeys, misery, marriage, to Diego Rivera, politics, parrots, passion, pain. Fragility, the name is woman, wrote Shakespeare, an idea echoed through the ages. Yet Frida embodied strength despite her pain, achieving fame and worldwide acclaim. So Frida Kahlo, born in 1907 to 1954, born Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo y Calderón, originally wanted to become a doctor, but an ill health led to painting. She grew to become a cultural icon and a world-famous artist, the first 20th century Mexican artist to sell a painting to the Louvre Museum in Paris. Today, her paintings sell for more than $15 million each. Okay, ready for the next one? Ready, set, go. Okay, this is two ladies, secret agent sisters. So we have Jacqueline Nearn, undercover operative, and we have Eileen Nearn, wireless operator. Down, down, down. Jacqueline pulls the ripcord, a blind drop into Nazi occupied France of 1943. Codename Designer. Her job, courier of secret messages, summon invisible ink. She's prepared to swallow them if caught. All the enemy sees is a lady with her knitting, hardly guessing there are radio parts in her makeup bag. She connects farmers, shop girls, bakers, all members of the resistance who stockpile supplies, weapons, cash, sabotage railways and factories till the Americans arrive, till D-Day is near. 14 months later, unbeknownst to Jacqueline, her younger sister Eileen, just 22, flies into France in the dark of night into a life in the shadows. Codename Rose. Her job, wireless operator in Paris's Wizard network, tapping Morse code to London, more than 100 messages sent. But look out! Her transmitter is discovered. Jacqueline hears rumors of Eileen's arrest by the Gestapo, but nothing more. Is she alive? Then, news of Eileen's escape from a prison camp. The sisterhood survives. It was a life in the shadows, but I was suited for it. After the war, I missed it. So brave British sisters, Jacqueline and Eileen, grew up in France and spoke flawless French, a sought-after talent of a SOE, so a Special Operations Executive Agent, during World War II. Both were awarded France's prestigious Croix de Guerre medal and England's Member of the Order of the British Empire medal for their heroism. Okay, ready for the next one? Ready, set, go. Full circle. This is Frances Moore Lappe, anti-hunger activist. This is the earth that Lappe dreamed, the woman who wrote Eat More Greens, Broccoli, Lettuce, Squash, and Beans, who built a diet of veggie cuisine that seems our bodies strong and lean, that stops the wasteful meat machine, that feeds a local food routine, that saves the cost of gasoline, that keeps our soil and water clean, that helps the grow more beans, cabbage, kale, and collard greens. This is the earth that Lappe dreamed. So Frances Moore Lappe, born in 1944, was 27 when she wrote Hunger is Human Made. She proved it takes 2,500 gallons of water and 16 pounds of grain to produce 1 pound of steak. So the world's grain is going to feed the cattle, not people. Her book Diet for a Small Planet said if we eat local, mostly plants, we can be healthier, prevent world hunger, and help save the earth. That's pretty cool. Okay, ready for the next one? Ready, set, go. There's lots of stories in here. A New School by this one is Ruby Bridges, civil rights pioneer. Ruby had a new school. William France. Mama wanted the very best. But who were these men with badges? Ruby wasn't sure. Screaming masses flanked the school, men and women holding signs, perhaps a parade for Mardi Gras? Ruby wasn't sure. When Marshall said, "Don't look back," was a gun at his side? Just what did segregation mean? Ruby wasn't sure. Why did the grown-ups point at her and pull their kids from school? Why were they all so upset? Ruby wasn't sure. Why did she and Mama sit all day in the office by themselves? Had she done something wrong? Ruby wasn't sure. Ruby was banned from their lunchroom, banned from recess every day. Why did her daddy call her brave? Ruby wasn't sure. She spent first grade with Mrs. Henry in a classroom just for one. Where were the other children? Ruby wasn't sure. But Ruby never missed a day with her teacher by her side. Two heroines stood hand in hand with their bond, a bridge for sure. Ruby Bridges, born in 1954, was just 6 years old. Escorted by 4 U.S. Marshals, she marched into an all-white school in New Orleans and became an icon for the civil rights movement. Only one teacher agreed to take her as a student, so Ruby and Barbara Henry spent first grade together in a class of 1, reading, spelling, singing songs, and doing jumping jacks. In the fight to end segregation, little Ruby led the way. Okay, next one. This one's called Lift Off by Mae Jemison. First female African-American astronaut. An African proverb says, "No one shows a child the sky." No need. Head back. It's there in her eyes. Glittering stars, swirling galaxies fill her, thrill her. Even though her kindergarten teacher says, "You want to be a scientist? Don't you mean a nurse?" Even though she's a scaredy cat, afraid of the dark, she looks up. Afraid of heights, she looks down. She skins her shins and muddies her dress because she needs to know. A Wrinkle in Time and Star Trek's Uhura say women can be scientists, even rocket scientists. Ignition. All systems are go. 3, 2, 1. Mae Jemison, born in 1956, was irritated that there was no women astronauts. She skipped 7th grade, started high school at age 12, later earned a degree in medicine, and in 1987 was chosen as for NASA's space program. When the Space Shuttle Endeavour launched in 1992, she was one of the 7 astronauts aboard. Okay, ready for the next story? This one's called A New Vision, which is Maya Lin, architect and sculptor. In 1981, entry number 1026 won a competition to build a memorial to the fallen soldiers of Vietnam, a controversial 20-year war where so many had died. When Maya Lin's name was revealed, some were outraged that someone so young, just 21, someone Asian American, someone female, had bested the best architects to honor men killed in Vietnam in a war we had not won. Maya's design was not perched high on a pedestal, but carved into the ground, a long walk down into the earth and then back out again. "I imagine taking a knife and cutting into the earth," she said. "Like war, it would create a wound that would heal with time, but leave a scar." Maya's design showed not a face or two, but more than 58,000 names, spelling out, one by one, just how many were lost, but was not made of traditional pure white marble, but black as night granite. Maya Lin knew that, polished in a high shine, black granite is a mirror for those who come to reflect, those present who gaze into the past. After all, what should a war memorial do? Unearth memory, make us cry, see ourselves, and then lead us back up into hope and into life. So Maya Lin, born in 1959, won the blind design competition unanimously despite the 1,441 entries that included the work of top architects. But when Lin's heritage, age, and gender were revealed, she had to appear before Congress to defend her vision. Today, her memorial is visited by more than 3 million people each year. Okay, this one's called Breakdown. We only have a couple more. This one's Angela Zhang, scientist and cancer researcher. Science. My friend, I grew up with you. When I was 5, you were a Harry Potter potion kit. I'd break flowers and leaves to mix in beakers and colored powders. When I was 7, you were my daddy's questions. Why is a manhole cover round? Why do we see rainbows after it rains? I don't know. Wasn't an answer. He taught me to break questions down, to chip away at the black boxes of life. When I was 14, I needed a lab and tools my high school didn't have. I wrote to college professors, whittling away at the wall of no, 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 till one at Stanford said, maybe, if you pass my test. The catch? Homework. Scientific papers to read. I highlighted the words I didn't know, all but the prepositions. Then I discovered, break it down. I dissected the papers word by word. When I was 15, success. I passed the test. At Stanford, I chipped away at the biggest black box of all, a cure for cancer. Science, you were both stone and chisel, and I, your willing apprentice, yearned to carve away life's mysteries as a sculptor chisels marble to find beauty inside. So Angela Zhang, born 1994, the same year as your cousin, invented a nanoparticle that can detect cancer cells and deliver medicine without harming healthy cells. At age 17, she won her $100,000 in the 2011-12 Siemens competition for math, science, and technology, and a trip to the White House in 2012. Oh, your cousin wasn't doing that. Okay, ready? Books, Not Bullets by Malala Yousafzai, youngest winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. She had been shot. The bullet went in her left eye and out her left shoulder. Flown to safety in England, Malala couldn't forget the beatings, bodies, and bombs. Back in her Paradise Valley of Pakistan, her beloved school closed for girls. Malala had spoken out. Just 11, she wrote a blog for the BBC. Don't they know that the first word of the Holy Quran is read? Her mother feared for her life. The Taliban don't kill children, they said. They were wrong. The gunman stopped her school bus and asked for her by name. He fired 3 bullets. 1 hit its mark. The news ricocheted around the world, but only her fear died that day. She said, strength, power, and courage were born. I am those 66 million girls who are deprived of education. Pens, not weapons, she preached. Books, not bullets. The world heard and bestowed upon her the highest honor, the Nobel Peace Prize. Malala, one young girl who stood up, one voice that would not be silenced. She can change the world. So Malala Yousafzai, born in 1997, shared the 2014 Nobel Peace Prize with Kailash Satyarthi from India. She will use the $500,000 prize to build secondary schools in Pakistan. In 2017, she launched the Gul Mackay Network, named after Gul Mackay, the pen name she used on her BBC blog. It pledges up to $10 million a year to support girls' education in developing countries such as Afghanistan, Lebanon, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Turkey. Holy man, that was a long one. Okay, the And thanks for listening, Zoe. I loved learning about all these awesome ladies.